Mahatma Gandhi, the path to freedom. Mahatma Gandhi, a name synonymous with peaceful resistance and the fight for justice. Born in 1869 in India, a country under British colonial rule, Gandhi's early years were marked by a search for identity and purpose. His education in England and work in South Africa shaped his beliefs in equality and human rights. However, it was his return to India that became a turning point. Gandhi led the independence movement, advocating nonviolent methods such as boycotts and civil disobedience. One of the most famous episodes was the Salt March, a 240-mile journey against the British salt monopoly. This march became a symbol of the struggle for freedom and drew global attention to India's plight. Gandhi believed that nonviolence was not a weakness but a great strength. Thanks to his efforts, India gained independence in 1947, but his fight for social justice and equality continues to inspire millions today. Winston Churchill, a leader for the ages. Winston Churchill is one of the most outstanding leaders of the 20th century. Born in 1874 into a British aristocratic family, Churchill was surrounded by politics from a young age. His military career began in India, and he later became a war correspondent, covering conflicts around the world. However, the true test for Churchill came during World War I. In 1940, as Europe faced the threat of Nazi Germany, Churchill became Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. His famous speeches inspired the nation to resist. The phrase "we shall fight on the beaches" became a symbol of British resolve. Churchill played a key role in uniting the Allies against Hitler, and his strategic thinking was crucial to victory. After the war, his influence did not wane. He remained an active politician and public figure, leaving behind a legacy of unwavering leadership and a defender of democracy. Marie Curie, the shining legacy. Marie Curie is a name that entered the annals of science as a symbol of genius and perseverance. Born in Poland in 1867, Marie showed an early interest in science, despite social and financial constraints. She moved to Paris, where she pursued higher education and met Pierre Curie, with whom she conducted research. Curie became the first woman to win a Nobel Prize and the only person to win it twice in different fields, physics and chemistry. Her discoveries in radioactivity revolutionized medical science, paving the way for new cancer treatments. Despite numerous challenges, including societal prejudice against a woman scientist, she continued her research, laying the foundation for future discoveries. Marie Curie's story is one of how a passion for knowledge and dedication to her work can change the world. Napoleon Bonaparte. Rise and fall. Napoleon Bonaparte is one of the most controversial and greatest leaders in world history. Born in 1769 on the island of Corsica, Napoleon demonstrated exceptional leadership qualities and military genius from a young age. His rapid rise to power began with the French Revolution, when he became one of the Republic's leading generals. Napoleon conducted a series of brilliant military campaigns, conquering nearly all of Europe. His strategic innovations and ability to inspire his troops made him unbeatable on the battlefield. However, his ambitions knew no bounds. In 1804, he declared himself emperor, but by 1815, his empire had collapsed. The final battle at Waterloo and his subsequent exile to the island of St. Helena marked the end of his grand career. Napoleon left a legacy as a great commander and reformer, but also as a man whose ambitions led to his downfall. Alexander the Great. Conqueror of the world. Alexander the Great, also known as Alexander the Great, was one of the most successful military commanders of all time. Born in 356 BC in Macedonia, he was the son of King Philip and a pupil of the great philosopher Aristotle. From a young age, Alexander displayed a desire for great conquests. After his father's death, he ascended to the throne and began his great military campaign to conquer the world. At just 20 years old, he began to conquer the Persian Empire, and by the age of 30, he had created one of the largest empires in history, stretching from Greece to India. His conquests contributed to the spread of Greek culture and ideas to the east, forming the foundation for Hellenistic civilization. Despite his early death at the age of 32, Alexander left an indelible mark on history, becoming a symbol of military genius and ambition. Catherine the Great. A woman in power. Catherine, known as Catherine the Great, was one of Russia's most influential rulers. Born in 1729 in Germany, she married the future Russian Emperor Peter III and moved to Russia. After his overthrow in 1762, she ascended to the throne and began a long reign that lasted over 30 years. Catherine the Great implemented significant reforms aimed at modernizing Russia. She supported education, the arts, and culture, sought to expand the country's territory, and strengthened its international standing. Her reign was marked as the Enlightenment in Russia when the country became a powerful state respected on the international stage. However, her reign was not without controversy. Serfdom remained a significant issue, and attempts to reform it were unsuccessful. Nevertheless, her contributions to Russia's development made her one of the most important figures in history.
Martin Luther King, dreaming of equality. Martin Luther King Jr. was a leader of the civil rights movement in the United States, whose name became synonymous with the fight for equality and justice. Born in 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia, King grew up in a society marked by racial segregation and inequality. He studied theology and became a Baptist pastor, but his true calling emerged in the struggle for the rights of African Americans. King was an advocate of nonviolent resistance, inspired by the example of Mahatma Gandhi. His famous "I Have a Dream" speech, delivered in 1963 during the March on Washington, became a symbol of the fight for equality. He played a key role in passing civil rights and voting rights laws that changed American society. Despite his tragic assassination in 1968, King's legacy lives on, inspiring new generations to fight for justice. Franklin D. Roosevelt. The steadfast leader Franklin Delano Roosevelt was the 32nd President of the United States and the only president elected to 4 terms. Born in 1882 in New York, Roosevelt grew up in a privileged family and was educated at Harvard and Columbia University. His political career began as a New York State Senator, but the true test for him came with the Great Depression. In 1933, Roosevelt became president at the height of the economic crisis. His New Deal program included a series of reforms aimed at economic recovery and job creation. Roosevelt's policies helped overcome the Great Depression and set the stage for a new phase in U.S. development. During World War I, Roosevelt led the country, playing a key role in creating the anti-Hitler coalition and guiding the Allies to victory. His determination and political genius helped overcome the most severe crises in U.S. history, leaving behind a legacy of a steadfast leader and protector of democracy.